Hello, my pseudonym is Nowachi, and I'm a human behind this channel. The script for this video, as well as its editing, is entirely my own work. The original concept for the images I use is also mine, and I rely on artificial intelligence to bring them to life. I also use an AI-generated voice to protect my privacy. I hope you enjoy this video. In the early 1940s, Jehovah's Witnesses were considered a small sect of followers of a histrionic American lawyer. They would parade in front of Christendom's churches holding signs with incoherent messages, preached apocalyptic warnings with harshness, opposed vaccination, claimed that organ transplants were a form of cannibalism, and even launched campaigns against the use of aluminum, which they believed was poisonous. In short, being a Jehovah's Witness was synonymous with ignorance, lack of education, and poor manners. And with that formula, they went out preaching with absolute confidence that they had all the answers, even if they didn't understand the question. But one thing's for sure, they spoke with a powerful confidence that can only come from not knowing that you don't know. However, it is a historical fact that starting in the 1940s, Jehovah's Witnesses managed to significantly improve their public image, at least compared to the one they had before. Stick around until the end, because today you're going to learn a ton about the history of Jehovah's Witnesses, but with a touch of humor and in an entertaining way. You'll find out who the marketing genius was that managed to change their public image, how he did it, and whether it was a deep transformation or just a cosmetic fix. Believe me, it's a truly fascinating story. In fact, it should be a case study in religious marketing. Before we begin, don't forget to click the like button so the algorithm recommends this video to more people. And if you're interested in learning about Jehovah's Witnesses in an objective way, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. On January 8, 1942, the second president of the Watchtower Society, Joseph Franklin Rutherford, Uncle Joe Rutherford, as his buddies might call him, passed away. This happened in a mansion located in San Diego, California, called Beth Sarim. The mansion was originally purchased to house Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, David, Daniel, and other faithful men of old when they were resurrected. Yes, you heard that right. What's not entirely clear to me is whether they thought these men would be resurrected directly in California, or if they already had one-way plane tickets booked from Jerusalem to San Diego. Just a few days later, on January 13th, 1942, Nathan Homer Knorr, whom we'll refer to from now on as Uncle Nathan, was appointed as the new president of the Watchtower Society. It turns out that Uncle Nathan wasn't particularly skilled at discovering hidden meanings in the Bible, nor was he as good a writer as his predecessors Russell and Rutherford. But he had another talent. He was an excellent administrator and marketer. In fact, had he not gotten involved with Jehovah's Witnesses, he could have been a great businessman. As a good administrator, Uncle Nathan understood that you can't run a global business, slip of the tongue, I meant a global religion, without a properly structured hierarchy. So he reinstated the arrangement of zone and regional servants. A zone servant would oversee several congregations, and a regional servant would oversee multiple zones. Over time, these positions were renamed circuit and district overseers. As far as I know, district overseers no longer exist today. On what biblical basis did Uncle Nathan establish those roles? Because, who needs the Bible when you've got absolute authority? Did he ever stop to consider whether his new hierarchical structure had scriptural support? We don't know. But really, don't bother a practical man like Uncle Nathan with such trivialities. How did Uncle Nathan tackle the problem of having preachers all over the world who were known for their complete lack of communication skills and for a bluntness that bordered on rudeness, a style that was nothing more than a cheap imitation of the late Joe Rutherford? Well, he came up with the idea of establishing a weekly meeting in every congregation called the Theocratic Ministry School. Today, the functions of that school have been absorbed into the weekly life and ministry meeting. The program and textbooks will be provided centrally by the Watchtower, and the zone and regional servants would ensure that everything was implemented as directed. Now, it's not like Jehovah's Witnesses suddenly became brilliant communicators thanks to this school, but the real breakthrough was, first of all, the emphasis on dressing properly and being courteous and polite when preaching. And second, the unification of how their message was presented. If you pay attention, the way Jehovah's Witnesses go door to door is practically the same everywhere. The only variation depends on how many topics a publisher knows how to introduce or on their personal style. If you're thinking this sounds suspiciously like what a marketing team does with a sales team, well, it's not that it sounds like it. It's exactly the same. The magic of marketing in the service of doctrine. Uncle Nathan also replaced the magazine The Golden Age with another one called Consolation, a name that later evolved into Awake in 1946. But beyond the name changes, the real shift was in content. These magazines moved away from ranting against vaccination and the use of aluminum, stances that had made Jehovah's Witnesses look foolish, even though at the time they were presented as absolute truths. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a complete transformation. For example, the rejection of organ transplants on the grounds that they were a form of cannibalism persisted until 1980, when Frederick Franz was already president. But as for their current stance, they're now fully aligned with modern scientific thinking. Yeah, that was sarcasm. Uncle Nathan also improved Jehovah's Witnesses' public relations. He organized massive international conventions, the largest of which was held in New York in 1958 and drew a crowd of over 250,000 people, with more than 7,000 baptisms. That was another highly effective religious marketing strategy. Although, if you ask me, the most disturbing part is that the convention lasted 7 days. Dear God, that must have been absolutely soporific. After 7 days of that, you'd probably walk out a zombie, ready to say yes to the most outrageous proposal, as long as it comes with a Bible verse. But if we take the number of new converts as a measure of success, our dear Uncle Nathan suffered a major setback. He let himself be swayed by Frederick Franz, who started making prophetic speculations in the style of Russell and Rutherford. In 1966, the Watchtower published a book titled Life, Everlasting and Freedom of the Sons of God, in which Franz claimed that 1975 would mark 6,000 years since the creation of humanity, and that, therefore, it would be no coincidence if Christ's kingdom arrived that very year. Now, 1975 deserves a full video on its own, but the point is that when the expectations, fueled by the Watchtower itself, were not fulfilled, many people left the organization. Still, Frederick Franz was the only high-ranking Watchtower official with any formal, albeit incomplete, theological and linguistic education at a university level. And well, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. What can you do? Despite the massive image makeover, it was still the Watchtower being the Watchtower. Or, to put in biblical terms, as Jeremiah 13 verse 23 says, "Can a leopard change its spots?" If you know a Jehovah's Witness or someone interested in studying with them, share this video with them. And if you'd like to keep learning about Jehovah's Witnesses from an objective perspective, here's some more videos for you. See you soon.